Hi, I'm John Hood. I'm the author of a series of historical fantasy novels called The Folklore Cycle. The first book in the series, Mountain Folk, was published last year. The second book in the series is entitled Forest Folk, and that will be coming out in April. This is the third in a series of videos that we've prepared to give you an advanced look at the world of forest folk. My books are set in early America. Most of the action of forest folk happens during the first 3 decades of the 19th century. That period spans such events as westward expansion, the War of 1812, and the birth of abolitionism. One of the primary characters in my first book was Nanyehi, a Cherokee woman who in her youth led her people in battle, but who later became a legendary peacemaker. Cherokees play an even greater role in forest folk, as personified by the war hero Junaluska and the culture hero Sequoia. I'm speaking to you from the new Echota State Historic Site in Calhoun, Georgia. The Cherokee legislature established its national capital here during the 1820s. In fact, I'm standing in a reconstruction of the Cherokee Council House itself. During its short history, New Echota was the setting of many important events leading up to the infamous Trail of Tears. In Forest Folk, I depict one such incident involving Sequoia. He was a talented silversmith and trader who lived just north of here in what is now Tennessee. Sequoia relocated first to Alabama, then to Arkansas and Oklahoma. His greatest accomplishment was to create a syllabary, a means of writing and printing in the Cherokee language. Although resisted by some at first, the syllabary became central to Cherokee culture and facilitated diplomatic dispatches, literary and religious works, and a newspaper called the Cherokee Phoenix. In Forest Folk, I take an imaginative but not unrealistic leap to depict a close friendship between Sequoia and one of my primary characters, Junaluska, who actually uses his earlier name of Golkalaski during most of the novel. I've always been fascinated with the origins of proper names. That name I just mentioned, Golkalaski, means he who leans and falls. According to tradition, he got this name when, as an infant, he kicked so hard that his cradle board fell over. Later, during the War of 1812, a British allied faction of Creek Indians called the Red Sticks fought American soldiers and militiamen, as well as Indian allies, including Cherokees. Golkalaski reportedly swore a vow to destroy all the enemy Creeks in battle. When that didn't happen, he renamed himself He Who Tries and Fails. Now, I can't accurately pronounce the Cherokee name, and neither could many of the Americans at the time. Their attempt sounded something like Junaluska, and that's the name that we continue to see today, written in books, depicted in art, and describing places such as Lake Junaluska in western North Carolina. Junaluska plays a central role in Forest Folk. He's deeply involved in the historical events that I depict, such as Tecumseh's attempt to recruit the Cherokees into his great confederacy. But Junaluska is also connected to the fantasy elements of the story. You can even see Junaluska right on the cover of Forest Folk. He wears an enchanted necklace and holds an enchanted spear as he confronts a deadly beast straight out of Cherokee legend, the Uttana, the horned serpent. The nearly indestructible Uttana was said to be locked in eternal struggle with the Tlanawa, the Cherokee thunderbird, a creature introduced in my first novel, Mountain Folk. In my stories, fairies and monsters actually exist in our world, but only a select few humans can pierce their magical disguises. I made Junaluska one of those gifted humans. His relationships with fairy beings, both indigenous and newcomer, drives much of the plot. In future videos, I'll show you even more of the world of Forest Folk. You can always learn more for yourself in 2 different ways. One of them is to visit the Folklore Cycle channel on YouTube and watch all the collected videos there. The other is to visit the website for Forest Folk. That's forestfolkbook.com. It'll give you lots of information, including ways that you can pre-order the book as a paperback, a digital download, or as an audiobook. See you soon!